Oh my gosh, this live for some reason was very difficult to get going. But some relationships and some friendships have an expiration date in life, and a lot of people really struggle with this from one of two perspectives. But there's so many individuals we've worked with over the years that have said to me, one of the greatest strengths I have in life is commitment. I don't give up on relationships ever. If you make a commitment to marry someone, you stay with them for life. If you make a commitment to be a friend with someone, then you stay with them for life. They're your mother, father, sister, brother. Like you don't ever go against blood. Blood is thicker than water, and all these other kind of things. And there's some concerns that I have about that. And one of the things that says to me when people come and they have a lot of relationships that are very tumultuous, and yet they're willing to stick through them. And I'm going to talk about the opposite in a minute, the isolationists, the individuals that are fearful of any type of friendship or relationship whatsoever. I'll talk about that side of the equation too. But a lot of people that say that they never let go of anything is because of something called codependency. Their fear of being alone, or their fear of being ostracized by others, their fear of being judged by others. And this video is very important. Many relationships have expiration dates. That's the truth. If we want to live in a fantasy world, then we say, no, David, you're wrong. If you're really a best friend with someone, no matter what they do or say, they're always going to be in your life. If you're really a best friend of your lover, they're always going to be in your life. If, family is family, and no matter what they do, you got to stick by them. And that's not really healthy at all. As a matter of fact, that would be a huge definition of codependency. The independent person is an independent thinker. It's exactly what we think it is. In other words, they have the opportunity to judge to see if people are treating them with love and respect. And if they are disrespected on a regular basis, of course, they bring that up to their partner, their mom, their dad, their brother, their sister, their best friend, or whatever it might be. And they go, hey, I don't feel good with what's going on here. I feel very uncomfortable that you're judging me so harshly. I feel very uncomfortable that you're putting me down in public. I have clients I work with on a regular basis that it doesn't matter if they're adult children, that their parents still put them down and criticize them in public. Their partner may criticize them in public. Their best friend may call out their shortcomings in public. And then they come in and say, well, David, I'm committed to this friendship. I'm committed to this relationship. I'm committed to my mom and dad, even though they do these things. And that to us who do this type of work in counseling and coaching is a sign of codependency. We're afraid to rock the boat. We're afraid to be open and honest. We're afraid to communicate in a way that someone might abandon us, might reject us, might criticize us for not being that person filled with commitment. Isn't that interesting? Do you know, especially years ago, now it can flip to the other side too, which isn't healthy, but years ago, oh my God, so many women would stay in relationships and be absolutely controlled by their husbands. They'd be absolutely 100% controlled. It's called codependency. The women, many times, and we're talking 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 years ago, couldn't earn, they didn't have the education, they didn't have the training to earn an income on their own. They had kids. So they felt compelled, mandated to stay in a relationship with a very unhealthy partner. And I'm being very stereotypical here, of course. I'm talking about women and men are the evil ones and women are the victims, right? But in all honesty, that was the truth. That women stayed because of the fact that they had to in order to survive financially. Well, thank God 40, 50, 60 years have passed, over 100 years have passed. But here's the concern that I have is that there are still a lot of men and a lot of women staying in outrageously unhealthy relationships. And if any of you guys know my story of codependency, which I actually shared part of it the other day in a Facebook Live, I was the classic codependent. I would stay in relationships for 8, 10 years that were outrageously unhealthy. I've had absolute breakdowns with my family members where we were estranged for a year and then we got back together. And the good news is that when we got back together, we were able to communicate. We were able to talk. And the reason that we ended up going through all kinds of hell together is because no one wanted to rock the boat and be honest with the other person. Think about the friendships, the intimate relationships, the relationships you have with your moms and dads right now. A number of months ago, I shared a story on my radio show about a caller from Texas that, her mom had guilted her and shamed her into not moving to another city to get this outrageous job, this incredible job, and she was a single kid. Her dad died. Her mom was on her own. And she became so resentful, the daughter. So she stayed living by her mom for a number of years and hated it. They got together every weekend and they argued incessantly. until she finally broke the codependent ties. And the reason that she worked with me for, I think it was about 6 months, the reason that she did work was because she needed to have the courage to say, oh my God, Mom, this is such a toxic relationship. I can't stay in this city with you. I've got to move and follow my own dreams. Her mom was fine. It wasn't like she was an invalid, but they had this very toxic relationship. We see that with men and women today that are in very toxic relationships. You know, I worked with a woman about 6 months ago that was married for 20 years to an alcoholic, you know, and she stayed for the kids. She stayed to enable him to take care of him. And some relationships have expiration dates. Now, I can also tell you, even in my own life, you know, I've had friendships that were very deep, 10, 15, 20 years long, are very, very awesome friendships. And then they were destroyed, only to be rebuilt again 2, 3, 4 years later. And they were destroyed because of the fact that I finally learned about my own codependency, and I stood up and said, this was unhealthy. What we're going through is not healthy for either of us, and I'm going to walk out the door. And by walking out the door, it gave me a chance to think, it gave them a chance to think, and then we came back together. Now, there's other friendships that I've had and other relationships that I've had that we haven't come back together because there was an expiration date. You know, people grow at different levels. And if you're involved in personal growth, you're involved with counselors like myself or coaches like myself, and you're doing really good personal growth work, you can outgrow your partner. Your partner can be resentful because you're doing all this interior work on you, and they can start to set up blocks and walls, and you can be going on and forward and hoping that they're going to join you, and they may not. You know, I've had couples where one of them got sober and the other one didn't, and there was an expiration date on the relationship. There's all kinds of ways to look at this, but one of the most important things to say is just because you say you're committed to love or friendship or whatever, don't be insane about it. Don't walk through hell. Don't walk through fire. And it doesn't mean that relationships and friendships don't have tumultuous periods. But if the tumultuous periods continue, even after you've gotten help, you have to make a decision about if the expiration date has been hit. And if it has, you need to have the strength to move forward for your own sanity. Now, the flip side of this that I'm going to talk about really briefly is the isolationist relationships. And those are the people that are relationship avoidant. And those are individuals that really never have had very long-term friends or relationships. They continue to find problems with everyone. They continue to end relationships quickly. They don't really have people that they lean on. And that's the flip side. That's the exact opposite spectrum. But most of us don't fall into that category. Most of us fall into the category of staying in a relationship after the date has expired. Just like milk in a store, just like eggs in a store. Yes, it happens. Now, before you leave a relationship, I always tell people, try to save it. Try to talk to the individual. Say, hey, listen, you mean a lot to me, and if we can make these changes in the relationship, let's make it. But if you deny or avoid confrontation and you decide to stay in the friendship or relationship, it's going to continue to eat at you. The resentments will come up in all kinds of ways. You'll bicker. You'll do passive-aggressive stuff instead of facing the reality. Okay, so think about it. If I can help you at all, we offer everyone a one-time free one-on-one counseling and coaching session via the phone. Email us at the above address, the web address right above this video, and my team will set up a time for you and I to talk one-on-one together, okay? It's really important for your self-confidence and self-esteem to do the right thing. Speak openly and then make the best decision for you. And don't forget to get chapter 1 of our #1 best-selling book on positive thinking at talkdavid.com or davidessel.com. In there, we've got tons of stories of people that learn how to shatter their codependent nature to become independent, healthy, wealthy, and wise. I want you to do the same. Have the most beautiful day. Talk to you guys later. Bye now.